come
So,
on now.
yeah, but sooner or later, it might get there. You might be able to sniff it. But hey, enjoy those playoffs and a first round exit.
You gotta be in it to win it, Joe. Something that a team there in Florida doesn't really understand this year in
Uh,
2026. It is what it is when it's time for the hottest topic of the day. You need that cup of Joe. You need that caffeine. It's coming your way right now with that topic. What is it, Joe?
Well, Donnie, in honor of the play-in games getting ready to kick off here, I think we need to talk about the complete bipolar nature of NBA fans and the never-ending soap opera that is Adam Silver's league here. Because, for the last 5 years, all we have heard from the casual fans and the keyboard warriors has been nonstop whining because, well, they complained that I'm going to spend my hard-earned money to head to an NBA game only to watch my favorite superstar sit on the bench in designer street clothes. Well, why? Because they needed some load management, Donnie. They just could not play in back-to-back games. So what did these NBA fans do? Well, they begged the league to step in and fix it. Where's the accountability is what we used to hear, right? So Adam Silver and the Players Union agreed to a 65-game minimum rule to qualify for postseason awards. You all applauded. All the NBA fans applauded. But what are you doing today? Because all I see, Donnie, across social media here is complete bitching and moaning that their favorite players are not playing enough games to win a trophy now. Which is it? You got to be kidding me. Yes, we are looking at a list of superstars who are completely disqualified from taking home any hardware this season. Guys like Luka Doncic, who lead the league in scoring and just, puts up ridiculous numbers. Anthony Edwards drops a career high in points. Cade Cunningham has a huge season for the Pistons and gets them to the number 1 seed out of the East. But because they could not hit the 65-game quota, well, they get absolutely nothing. And now the internet and the NBA fans are furious and screaming about how unfair it is. And here's the reality check, because I can't believe, but I actually agree with Charles Barkley on this one. The players have absolutely zero right to complain, and most of them, I don't think, really care one way or the other, which is why we're in this spot to begin with. But the reality is the Players Union explicitly agreed to this rule. They didn't do that without the players' blessing. You've got guys making $50 million a year, have an army of personal trainers and nutritionists and sleep coaches, and they can't be bothered to show up for at least 65 of the 82 games of a regular season. The 65-game rule was always a desperate Band-Aid for a league that has entirely lost its toughness. Let's be realistic here. Either these guys truly do not care about playing every night, or they are genuinely getting hurt more frequently because, well, they're a bunch of pampered and coddled superstars. Either way, we should not have to argue over which MVP candidate actually decided to show up to work on a consistent basis. Donnie, if you want accountability, you got it. This is exactly what it looks like. Now, as far as I'm concerned, NBA fans, stop the bitching and moaning and deal with the consequences.
I love it. And you know what, Joe? Let's ramp it up one more thing. So, you know what? 65 games, I can't be all NBA. I can't win the MVP. How about Commissioner Donnie Wrightside steps in and goes, yeah, that's fine. How about if you don't play 65, Joe? You don't get to make the playoffs at that point here. So, Luka Doncic, you don't even get to go to the playoffs. Boy, I bet you, wow, this guy played 75 games. This guy played 80 games this year. We'll see how appetite for destruction they will be if they don't make the playoffs. How about that? We're going to get to the hottest topics coming up in the sports landscape right now. It's the early lineup. AZ Fudd drafted number 1 overall to the Dallas. Is it the Dallas Wings? It is the Dallas Wings. But how about this, Joe? Girlfriend, same team. What happens if they bicker a little bit? Do you have to blow up the team and trade everybody away? This could be a powder keg.
Well, this could be a problem, yes. But, if I'm the Dallas Wings, it's a hell of a problem to have. If I have Paige Beckers and Fudd on the same team, I'm probably going to, winning cures a lot of issues, Donnie. And Dallas, I think, is poised to win themselves some games this year in the WNBA.
You know, he's not poised to go deep into the playoffs. It's the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry, he's coming back. Love to see it. Minutes restriction, Joe. Tough scene right now at this point for Golden State and that aging dynasty.
Yeah, it is kind of tough here, but Steph's probably like, do I really? I mean, we're going to get bounced here anyway. 12 minutes. You'll get 12 minutes of my time, Donnie. That's what Steph Curry's going to give everyone before the game gets out of hand, and then it's the season over. Bye-bye. Thanks for coming.
Now, here in Philadelphia, this might be a story that I like here, but maybe nationally people get upset by. Because if I just go back, like Merrill Reese is the Eagles play-by-play radio guy. Lost his fastball a couple years ago, but a legendary voice that you love to hear. The Flyers TV and radio, absolutely fantastic. The Phillies radio network, absolutely fantastic. But the Phillies TV broadcast, horrendous. The Sixers broadcast on TV, absolutely horrendous. I welcome the national guys over the slop that we have in Philadelphia.
Yeah, you're not the first person I've heard say that, Donnie. I don't know what it is. I've never actually caught a local broadcast of this.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, the hatred is real there. Like, how bad are they?
Yeah, it's Kate Scott and Allah Abdul Nabi. It's like we went from Mark Zumoff, who was tremendous for decades here, and then we get it's almost like, Joe, when you hear it's like, I don't feel like watching the game right now because I can't stand the telecast. It's like, just bring me the national guys so I can enjoy it. Every time in Philadelphia Phillies game with Tom McCarthy, who's the TV guy, when he gets drawn out to an NFL situation or college basketball, it's like music to my ears because Scott Fransky, the radio guy, takes over for TV, and he is so much better. But it is what it is at this point. I welcome the national people here. John Moran, sideline during exit interviews. This guy getting in trouble when they're not even playing basketball games?
Listen, I still don't know how he's in Memphis. I mean, I really have no idea. But he won't be. Somebody is going to trade for him. He'll be wearing a different uniform, and good luck to that team. My goodness.
Man, Dick Vitale over the past couple of years, anything on social media that pops up is like, hey, just beat cancer. And then a couple months later, oh, no, I have cancer again. This man is going through it all. What a legendary broadcaster right there that continues to fight. How many times can he beat cancer? I bet you, Joe, he beats it another time.
You talk about broadcast. I mean, legendary.
Yes.
College. I mean, just synonymous with college hoops. Always has been, always will be. We wish him nothing but luck here in this battle that he's consistently going through here over the last decade, it feels like.
Boy, I mean, how many times can you just roll with the punches at that point right here? Always optimistic, always back on the call. Get well, Dickie V. Joe Buck dismissed the chance to call the 2025 MLB postseason. I don't think anybody missed that.
Yeah, no, because, well, now it's into December, so, I mean, he still has to do football. So, but, yeah, keep going, Major League Baseball. Let's just go 12 months a year, and none of these guys will show up.
The one thing I do like when Joe Buck makes the rounds, like on local radio, is like, understand this. Everybody thinks I hate their teams here. It's not the case. Just try to call it down the line. And if you're used to your homer broadcast, you don't get that with a national broadcast. It is what it is. Jonathan Quick, one of the best goalies of his time. Champion as well. He's going to hang him up after 20 years, man. This guy, LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Quick back in the day, man. Remember him with the Kings? He was really. They just couldn't score, and that was the problem here. And he never really was able to do anything else beyond that. But hell of a career, 20+ years there, Jonathan Quick.
Yes, it was. Here, Spreadlines coming up next on a Tuesday fun day, right here on the SportsGrid Network. We will be right back.
Process is closed. Let's call it out for what it is, right? And is it their fault? You could, they've been just besieged and Embiid, but it just continues, Kevin, right? As soon as he's like, don't worry about my health, and then here we are, right? I would have traded him a couple of years ago. I would have gotten ahead of the curve, Kevin.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
At the end of the day, LeBron's going to have to put that team on his back. Can he do it? I don't know if he could do it for a 7-game series. Can he give you like 2, oh my goodness, LeBron at 31? Yeah, I think he can give you a couple of those games. But it's about the other guys that have to step up.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Scotty Scheffler, the best golfer in the world. How many majors will he win this year? And if he does get 4, Joe, that's currently trading at 3 cents. So a $100 investment actually only pays back $333 at this point, which is kind of insane when you ask him to win all 4. Joe, I told you already, sticking to my guns. $100 investment on no majors. None over the next 4 this year.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
You build teams in the second, third, and fourth round, right, Donnie? Yeah. That's where you build. That's where you get the depth. That's where you build the team. So teams looking for draft capital very much could be alive and well in this draft coming up because there's just nobody to mortgage the future for because you need your franchise guy. They're just not in this draft.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
As Jim Morosino once said here, playoffs, absolutely. The playoffs start today in the association, and we got some spread lines you need to get down with. Now, the first game we're going to talk about is a game that 90% of the country won't be able to watch because they placed a play-in playoff game at 10 p.m. Congratulations, NBA. Your goal to tank ratings, it's certainly going over in DRS's household here. The Trailblazers going to take on the Suns. The favorite in this game, Joe, opening was the Phoenix Suns at -4. But today on game day, we're seeing -3.5 across the board and a low total, which opened up at 217, which is already low. Take a look at 216.5 now on the graphic. The Phoenix Suns at home taking on the Trailblazers, Joe. What's the spread line for this one?
Well, I mean, it doesn't shock me. It's the lowest total on the board, Donnie. It's the lowest total for a reason. It did open up closer to the 220 mark and then immediately kept getting betting down because, listen, it's styles make fights here, right? The Trailblazers are over the last couple of weeks, and I give them credit. They feel like they're playing with house money, Donnie. They really do here. I mean, Phoenix was the better team throughout the season, although 5 of the last 16 games is what they won down the stretch. Not good here at all. And of course, Portland actually ramped it up to be able to get to this spot. But Phoenix is going to want to turn this thing into a rock fight here. That's how they like to play. And Portland is going to want to turn up the heat a little bit and get out in transition. Both teams can play some defense, Donnie. There's no doubt about it. But if you're going to say who's going to win it, well, who's going to win it is the team that dictates tempo here. And if Phoenix does that, then Phoenix is going to win and likely cover this game in a very low-scoring affair here. But if Portland has their way and they can get it up-tempo and get out in transition, Portland very much could punch their ticket into the postseason. I think it's the best game on the board here in the play-in.
West Coast, Western action here, Western Conference. Let's flip it over to Wednesday night here, Joe. Another West Coast action game, which will be Battle of Golden State. And once again, you'll enjoy that out there in the Pacific time zone, but nobody else will be able to watch this game. Congratulations once again, NBA, for waiting a game till 10 p.m. in the evening here. It's the Warriors and the Clippers, though, Joe. Opening this line, -5 is a favorite towards the Clippers. We just told you that there's going to be a minutes restriction in this game for Steph Curry. A 5-point favorite still sits at most outlets as a 5-point favorite and a total of 220.5. The favorite Clippers at home in the battle of the Golden State with the Warriors. What's your spread line?
Yeah, well, this is the interesting one, Donnie, because how many minutes are you getting from A, Steph Curry, and B, Porzingis, and it's not like they've had a ton of time to play with one another throughout the season, Donnie, because they were always hurt and never on the court outside of the last couple of games there, and it did not look good at all. Looks like Kawhi Leonard is finally good to go here, 100% heading into the postseason, but what we've seen down the stretch is somebody else has got to step up for Kawhi Leonard. Where is Darius Garland? Where is Dunn? Where is somebody else has to step up as well? It just can't be Kawhi Leonard because that's maybe good enough to get past the Warriors. It's not going to be good enough to do anything else beyond that. So I do think Kawhi and Garland and company, I think it's a good matchup for the Clippers. They've owned the Warriors over the last couple of years. So it doesn't shock me that this was, an open of 3.5, and now we're looking at, 5? Doesn't shock me that it's all Clipper money at this point.
Let's go over to Major League Baseball tonight for some spread lines here. And how about this? Congratulations to the boys opening the week in style with a 2-0 night last night. That's how it's planned out. In the game I love, Joe, over 8.5 runs, absolutely blew it out of the park last night between Arizona and Baltimore. So let's go back to the Charm City for this one. Arizona's going to have Kelly on the mound going up against Rogers. And if we take a look at this line across the board, opened up overnight around a -148 price as a favorite towards Baltimore. We now sit around -145 to -150, depending on where you're shopping at, and a total, Joe, of 8.5 once again as the runs. Give me a look tonight between Arizona and Baltimore for a nice little spread line.
Well, it was a beautiful day there yesterday. The O's, the bats for both teams started going. You're not going. I hope you bought tickets to that game last night, because if you want runs in this one, they may not be coming. Rogers on the mound for Baltimore just absolutely has been once again lights out. He's one of the most underrated starting pitchers in the American League that nobody talks about. The problem is Merrill Kelly, this is his first start this year, coming off finally off of some back issues here. Didn't pitch much in spring training, so this is the first crack we're going to see in him, and he's no spring chicken. So what are we going to get from Merrill Kelly is the question. The answer, I don't know. It wouldn't shock me if the O's get some runs off of him. I'm not sure the Diamondbacks are hitting Rogers. They hit lefties better than righties. But this guy he's pitching on another level right now. You got to like the O's chances.
85 degrees his first pitch tonight in Baltimore. Heat wave on the East Coast. Let's head out to the Motor City. That's the Detroit Tigers at home to host the Kansas City Royals. Battle of lefties on the mound for Amber Valdez taking on Cole Reagans. The total across the board listed at 7.5. But an increase here in the line overnight. Valdez was around a -115 price point. He's up to -125 or so, depending on where you're shopping at. We got spread lines tonight to deal with, Joe. Kansas City and Detroit.
Well, big battle here for the Central, but two guys, Donnie, that have gotten lit up here in a couple of starts so far early in the season here. These ERAs are through the roof, but both guys are better than this. But Kansas City wins games, but it's not like they're crushing the ball yet. Detroit has. I kind of like the under. I think both these pitchers now heading into their fourth starts in the season, I think both of these guys here fine-tuning and getting ready to dominate these lineups.
How about a nice little six-pack there for those Mets? Like, hey, we'll enjoy a couple little beverages here. No, how about a six-pack of losses and still in Los Angeles? Got shut out last night, only had 3 hits. They're going to face Yamamoto tonight. Congratulations. Now, McLean's going to be on the mound, so you think it's going to be a competitive game. That's not what the odds makers are talking about, Joe. Take a look at this graphic. -200 for those Los Angeles Dodgers at home and a total of 7.5. What's the spread line out there in L.A. tonight?
Yeah, already up 10 cents from the overnight line there, Donnie. Listen, the Mets can't hit, and it's not getting better at all here. It wasn't good. It wasn't a great spot for them to have to fly all the way out west and take on the Dodgers. It's even worse spot tonight that Yamamoto's on the mound. Feels like a team total under for the Mets, Donnie. I don't know why we'd be looking at anything else at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. The Dodgers just rolling over the Mets. Is the Mets going to have a 10-game losing streak to start the season? It could be, people. We'll be back with some NBA talk next, getting you ready for the play-on rounds and more.
Process is closed. Let's call it out for this, right? And is it their fault? You could, they've been just besieged and Embiid, but it just continues, Kevin, right? As soon as he's like, don't worry about my health, and then here we are, right? I would have traded him a couple of years ago. I would have gotten ahead of the curve, Kevin.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
At the end of the day, LeBron's going to have to put that team on his back. Can he do it? I don't know if he could do it for a 7-game series. Can he give you like 2, oh my goodness, LeBron at 31? Yeah, I think he can give you a couple of those games. But it's about the other guys that have to step up.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Scotty Scheffler, the best golfer in the world. How many majors will he win this year? And if he does get 4, Joe, that's currently trading at 3 cents. So a $100 investment actually only pays back $333 at this point, which is kind of insane when you ask him to win all 4. Joe, I told you already, sticking to my guns. $100 investment on no majors. None over the next 4 this year.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
You build teams in the second, third, and fourth round, right, Donnie? Yeah. That's where you build. That's where you get the depth. That's where you build the team. So teams looking for draft capital very much could be alive and well in this draft coming up because there's just nobody to mortgage the future for because you need your franchise guy. They're just not in this draft.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Basketball news and notes. We're in the offseason in college basketball. We're just getting to the playoffs in the NBA, but players are going to change teams. How much NIL money do you get? How much revenue sharing can I take? How about this from Pete Thamel? Former Boston College guard Akbar Wahid III is committed to St. Bonaventure, he told ESPN. He's a former 4-star prospect who earned 2-time All-Met honors at Georgetown Prep. He redshirted this year at BC and has 4 years remaining. So how long can he play, Joe, and how old is this guy going to be?
Good question. What is it? What, 24 years old? And he's got 4 years. So what, how old, by the time he finishes his eligibility, he's going to be pushing 30? Is that what we're understanding here? Is that where we're at right now, Donnie?
I mean, did he fight in like Afghanistan for 4 years? Like what happened between his time he got out of high school till now where he's playing college basketball?
And he's going to the Bonnies, no less. Interesting here. Well, listen, this is the direction. You're going to have some guys that maybe got off a little track there, Donnie, when they were 18 or 19, kind of had to grow up a little bit, come back into the spot, and hey, we're going to have 28 and 27-year-olds playing in college basketball sooner rather than later.
Maybe that's the way to do it. It's like almost like, you know what, I'm going to graduate high school at 18. I don't think I'm mature enough to be in college yet for basketball. I'm going to work on my game. I'm going to get a job. And in 4 years, I'm going to be more mature than the 18-year-olds. And I can play for 4 more years. And at maybe big money, this is my professional career. And I'll retire at 28. Maybe that's the new look right now. You know what the new look for the NBA shouldn't be right now is everybody's losing games and being okay with it here. This season marks the first time in NBA history, Joe, where 8 teams lost 55-plus games. We talked about it yesterday with those 8 teams with the losing percentages of 333 or less, 55-plus losses, which once again means teams by the dozen almost every single night punting on the regular season. Great for the NBA.
I mean, listen, if there are any basketball gods listening and they have a very fun sense of humor, then whoever has the lowest chance to get the ping pong ball for number 1 like Dallas did last year, please let that happen. Please let somebody who shouldn't have any ping pong balls at all, let that one ping pong ball show up and show the rest of those teams what a giant waste it was to lose those games.
Exactly. Look, there's so many ways that you can fix tanking in the NBA, but they really don't want to do it because they figure, oh, no, we're going to lose franchises here because they won't ever get the number 1 pick, and nobody's going to want to go to Milwaukee. Nobody's going to want to go to Detroit. Everybody's going to want to go to Los Angeles or Miami. It's going to be unfair, just the way the NBA plays it out right now. How about this, Luka Doncic? Last time we saw him, pretty devastating hamstring injury, which knocked him out for the remaining parts of the regular season. But now we're told that he went to Madrid to get treatment and he should come back and be okay. So here's my prediction. Luka game number 1, back on the sideline because he's not ready to come back and force coming back from a hamstring injury.
Yeah, this is interesting here because you and I both know, Donnie, hamstrings don't work like that. That's not how it works. Like you can't just go, spray some deer antler juice on it and all of a sudden I don't care where you fly to. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. But listen, the good news, hopefully they don't need. Can they win a couple of games and get by and give them enough time to be able to maybe give it a go at what, 60%, 70%? Hamstrings are funny like that, Donnie. You never know.
Yep, it's going to pop once again here. Maybe a little Willis Reed action, limp around a little bit, give the hometown team a little boost, and dip out of the game and hope that team can carry on that momentum which you gave them. And also in the NBA for Luka Doncic. You got to play 65 games if you want NBA awards. He didn't he didn't make it to 65 games here. So another victim gets claimed by the 65-game rule.
Yeah, and another superstar player that could care less, Donnie. Let's be honest here. These guys don't care whether they play 65 games. It's why we're in this mess and we're arguing about it to begin. If they cared like a former generation cared, there's no way. You would have had to drag them off the court here, not this generation of players.
Absolutely. And by the way, Tyrese Halliburton, he's got some interesting things going on right now. You saw last year, a torn Achilles, not going to play this year. Now he has shingles. Now he's gaining weight. He's losing eyebrows and hair and whatnot. What the heck is going on with Tyrese?
I don't know. He kind of looked like Anthony Davis there for a minute, but what's the difference at this point? I got to tell you here, Donnie, out of sight, out of mind with Halliburton. Good luck taking a year off and coming back. It's not an easy thing to do at his level.
By the way, when you take a look at Halliburton as well, like there's more to meet the eye. Like, is this something that's going to go away, or is he fighting for his life at this point? Because sometimes you get shingles here, you quickly move on.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like he's doing that right now, and also rehabbing from the Achilles. Tough times in Indianapolis right now. We'll be right back after this short break. More hot topics are on the way next. Hey, Major League Baseball. Yes, my Philadelphia Phillies had 13 runs last night. They scored in more than one inning, which, by the way, they scored three innings out of their previous 40-plus innings before last night's game against the Chicago Cubs, and they picked up a victory here. But I don't need to talk about the Philadelphia Phillies right now. I want to talk about those New York Mets on a 6-game losing streak, but they find new ways to find revenue streams out of nowhere. Hear me out on this, Joe, right? How about this? A new elite ballpark snack has emerged. The Mets are selling mini buckets of pickle chips for $5 at Citi Field. Now, when I was growing up, I should say, in the 80s and 90s, you would go to the ballpark, and if you wanted pickles, you got as many as you wanted to. If you went on your burger, on your hot dog, or whatever you wanted, you just went over there, grabbed them up, put them on your plate or your little, styrofoam thing, and walked back to your seat and ate those. So now the Mets are like, you want pickles? You got them. $5.
How many? I mean, how many pickle chips are in that
Yeah,
damn?
probably
What?
three. Probably three.
How
probably
I was
three.
gonna, I was gonna say, Donnie, for $5, how many pickle chips you give me? Like 2.5, and one of them's half eaten. Like what? No, but hey, listen, there's got to be. I guess you try anything at that point. Since you're not winning games and not scoring runs, you might as well feed people pickles in the stands, I guess, Donnie.
And by the way, it's $5. So what do you say next year? That's $9.99, and then $14.99, and then $22.99 for pickle chips at this point. And then they say, hey, this Horman's original pickle chips, they're too expensive. We're going to make our own cheaper brand of Mets kosher pickles, and that's $29.99 by the time we get to 2030 at this point. Another way to make money off the people, charging for pickle chips. Say it ain't so, it is. But by the way, another New York team played last night, and they actually won their baseball game 11-10 here. Let's hear what Booney has to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, I feel like good to win a game like that, where the offense really breaks out and has a ton of really good at-bats. We could have had more there early. Rosie smokes the ball there with the bases loaded. Grichuk hits the ball maybe going out to center. So there's just a lot of really good at-bats. And credit to them, too, because they threw a ton of really good at-bats to get back in it all night. It felt like with 2 strikes, 2 outs, just a ton of really good at-bats, especially on a night where I thought Will Warren, and stuff-wise, was pretty electric. And they just put some really tough at-bats on him. But just some big-time at-bats to allow us to pull that one out.
How about that, Joe? We got to win a game somehow here. 11-10, couple home runs from Trout, couple home runs from Aaron Judge. It is nice to finally get a victory here. That would have been interesting. 2 teams in New York with 6-game losing streaks, with the Yanks get the win last night.
Yeah, I'm watching that game last night, Donnie, and all I'm thinking is, man, what if Trout was a Yankee? And if that guy would have stayed somewhat healthy, Donnie, I can't imagine the guy, even still at this point, is just it's unbelievable, and it's a shame, too. It'll go down as the one guy that just could have been the greatest of all time, but just could not stay healthy.
Exactly. Talking about staying healthy, here's a couple of hamstring injuries that you're going to want to worry about. The Houston Astros, they're going to lose Jeremy Pena to a hamstring strain. And how about this? Ime comes over and he's got right arm fatigue. It's April. We're not even in August or September, and dude's already fatigued.
Amazing, right? There's a handful of teams, Donnie, where, the injuries have piled up, and there's some head scratching going on right now. Toronto's another one of these teams. We got some issues in Major League Baseball, but it feels like we've got that all the time, though, don't we? Every year, right around this, we're always scratching our head going, how is a guy, how is the guy's arm fatigued already, and we're only, 3 starts into the season? It's amazing.
Let's have some fun with this one, too. We just talked about Luka Doncic. Oh, look at that hamstring injury. Falls down on the court. Oh, my goodness, devastation. Let me go over to Europe, and in about a week, I'll be ready to play again. That's not how hamstrings works here, because why? Take a look at the Milwaukee Brewers, who you saw their manager going hey, there's fluid back there. He tweaked it. We'll find out. And what did I say, Joe? You ain't going to see him for weeks. Exactly correct. He's out up to a month here with that hamstring injury. Athletes don't understand hamstring injuries. Doctors do, and it takes a long time to heal.
Yeah, it's not good. And you think, being a trainer of some sort, Donnie, you would think that you'd figure out some sort of routine for these players where they're not jacking their hamstrings in the first month of the season every year. You would think somebody would be able to figure that one out, but apparently not yet.
They can't do it yet here. And also, we haven't figured out sometimes what causes elbow injuries, because apparently now, if you pitch 101 pitches, your arm will fall off. If you pitch 99, you should be healthy for the season. Not the case for Nick Pivetta. Elbow injury, a concerning development here for those Padres.
Yeah, it is concerning here in the Padres with the starting pitching. Again, issues here. But if we're being honest here, they got quite the bullpen. I don't know how many people thought the Padres were really contending for the West anyway this year, but they're going to have to go figure out some starting pitching here. Can they keep King healthy? I mean, they can't get Musgrove back. So, yeah, not great for the Padres right now.
Let me ask you a question with pitching, Joe, which I never understood this too. Like, you have a pitch count in Major League Baseball that they use, and they just came up with that arbitrary number of 100. Can't go over 100 pitches because, again, the 101, your arm falls off, 99, you're completely healthy. But why do we have the 10 or so warm-up pitches between innings? So, in effect, Joe, are they throwing 200 pitches a night? And, oh, yeah, they start a bullpen session before the game. So the pitchers actually pitch like 300 pitches a game, Joe?
Yeah, Donnie, all of these injuries, as far as I'm concerned, have very little to do with what they do on the major league level. All of these injuries are an accumulation of what they did on their way to Major League Baseball.
Correct.
That's what that is, Donnie. It ain't what they're doing in Major League Baseball. It's what they did on the way up that's causing these arm injuries.
Remember those devastating curveballs from the 9-year-old pitchers out there that pitched every third day? There you go, people. That starts here. By the way, Edwin Diaz, who went over from the New York Mets to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Well, how about this? Does somebody have a phone over to Cooperstown directly? Because look at this quote. The Dodgers told me, and this is Edwin Diaz speaking, if I came to Los Angeles and we have the chance to sign you, we will make you a Hall of Famer. How's that possible? What happens if he stinks? He's still going to be a Hall of Famer?
Well, if I'm him, a little less on the headgear and the hats guy, and figure out why it is you're 3 miles an hour less in velocity, because that's going to be a problem moving forward here. That's what the Dodgers should want to figure out is, why is this guy lost 3 miles an hour on his fastball? That's a problem.
How about this, Joe? You know what else is a problem? Hey, you're playing in Kansas City. It's really a pitcher's ballpark, but we get some heat and humidity in the summer. You can hit home runs, but this field isn't really valuable to a home run hitter because the fences are high and they're really deep. So what do? Let's lower the fences. Let's move them in here. We'll score a lot more runs. And when did Bobby Witt Jr. become a Philadelphia Philly? Because look at this stat. Bobby Witt Jr. has reached base 30 times this season and left stranded 29 times. What are we doing, Kansas City? Drive the man home.
Yeah, well, what they're not doing is hitting with runners in scoring position. That's what they're not doing, Donnie, and that is a problem. But doesn't it feel like that's the story of It's been that way with Kansas City.
Yep.
They're not a home run or bust. Everyone thought moving move them in, they'll be fine. They'll hit home run. No, they're not hitting home runs either.
By the way, who wants to win a Cy Young there in Boston? It certainly isn't Garrett Crochet and his 7.58 ERA. He got torched last night against the Twins. Let's hear from him right now. Ooch.
I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, command as a whole has been spotty. Gotten away with it a little this early in the year, but tonight they made me pay. It was weak contact, hard contact, walks, hit by pitch, a little bit of everything.
You've never had a night like that in your career. How kind of just a little strange was it to just go through that?
It's tough. I guess. I mean, I don't really have anything to say there. I'm just going to flush it. I mean, as best as I can, move on to the next one. They had a good approach.
Look at that, Garrett Crochet. All that hype there for the Boston Red Sox not working out all that well. It's Major League Baseball time. Start to step it up because you know what? Hitting weather is here, Crochet. That might not be a good thing for you. We'll be right back right here on the early line. It's a Tuesday right here on the early line, heating up on the East Coast here. Love to see it. Some baseball teams scoring a ton of runs in Baltimore, in Philadelphia, in New York, just the way we like it here. I'm Donnie Rightside, along with Joe Renier. We're going to bring in George Kurtz here to talk a little Yankees and much more. George, how we feeling on this Tuesday morning?
You know, guys, I think my favorite sports time of the year is probably October, right? Football is in swing here. Baseball playoffs, NHL is beginning. But this time in April is a pretty close second, right? Baseball, NHL playoffs start Saturday. NFL draft in about 10 days. Pretty fun time of the year.
By the way, George, last night we were watching two New York teams that were on the cusp of 6-game losing streaks apiece until the bottom of the ninth inning, with the Yankees having a big-time comeback, pulling out the victory over Los Angeles. How do we feel about the Yanks? We just had a video clip played with Booney talking about how it finally feels to get a win after 5 of those. Sometimes you just need to get off the schneid to get that season started here. The Yankees avoided that 6-game losing streak.
It's sort of what we're wondering now, right? The 11-run explosion last night, and they would have scored more if the inning would have went on, right? They would have had first and third, nobody out there. Is it a sign of things to come? Warmer weather here in New York, as you know, Donnie. So all of a sudden, Judge hits a couple home runs, right? Grisham hits a couple of home runs. Will that help the Yankee bats? Because their slugging was 25th in Major League Baseball. Certainly not the Yankees. So we'll see if the warmer weather is a sign of things to come. We'll find out tonight against the Angels. I might have a little bit of my doubts here, but the Yankees may be playing some high-scoring games, guys. All right, the starting pitcher looks good. That bullpen does not.
Honestly, what the Yankees, we knew, George, at some point, as long as they stayed healthy, they're going to score enough. They're going to score runs. Let's face it. It's the pitching that I was a little more worried about here, but we know reinforcements are coming. The Mets just look helpless to me. Like, so is Soto that important to the Mets? I mean, I thought they got Bichette. They got all these other guys that this was, you know, you could weather the storm. They're not weathering anything here, George. They're a mess.
Well, let's be fair. Losing Soto would hurt any team. Maybe not the Dodgers, but it would hurt any other team, right? But this is taking it to an extreme. Isn't Lindor a superstar, guys? All right. I mean, you have Lindor. You mentioned Bichette. You paid him a ton of money, right? Stole him from Philadelphia. All right. And you got other players. Alvarez can hit somewhat here. You bring in Semien, right? Because he was going to help. So it's getting late early here for the Mets, because all the Met fans, all they're seeing is last year again, right? Where they collapsed last year, they fell apart. They're seeing it again. I thought they would hit. I didn't think that was going to be a problem. I thought the pitching was going to be more the issue, and that's rearing its ugly head as well. Mets have a lot of problems here. Luckily for them, I don't think anyone's going to run away in the National League East, all right? The Braves have all sorts of pitching problems, all right? And Philadelphia's an older team, all right? So I think they can wear down as the season goes on here. We'll see what Zach Wheeler, who might return to the Phillies, can be this weekend as well. If he's an ace again, all right, Phillies may be that favorite. If not, Philly's going to have some pitching problems as well.
Yeah, I agree with you as well, George. That NL East is going to be up and down all season long. And also, if you're the Mets, 6-game losing streak, we'll pick up a couple wins against Colorado. You're back in L.A. tonight going up against Yamamoto, and a -200 favorite are the Los Angeles Dodgers. Even with McClain on the mound for the Mets tonight, something to watch. But, George, hockey, only a few days left in the regular season. Then we get to the playoffs. And I want to talk about who is actually going to have a legitimate chance to win the Stanley Cup. The favorite right now is the Colorado Avalanche. But then I scroll all the way down. I say, wait a second. Get the binoculars out here. That's those Flyers at a 60-1 price. They're in, George. Broad Street, rocking again here in Philly.
Listen, if you're old enough to remember Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, I mean, they played some knockout brawls in the 70s, 80s. It was a matchup you'd love to see it, right? If you like that kind of hockey. So it should be a lot of fun here. I give Philadelphia a fighting chance. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to walk through them at all here. I think the series is going to go at least 6, if not 7 games. Philadelphia's faster. I'm not so sure I trust either team's goaltending. You know, one thing I know, Don, you're not going to be happy to hear this. Is Crosby not going to get every call? I mean, I imagine he's going to get I think that could be just what sort of swings the momentum towards Pittsburgh. Is the fact that I think Crosby gets every call in the series here, especially the NHL is going to want Pittsburgh to move on here, keep Crosby in the ratings here. I think it's going to be a great series. I'm leaning Pittsburgh in 7.
Can't believe the playoffs are almost here, man. I think Donnie's going to bust out his Berube Josie soon here and just relive the old days there. Yeah, or even Hextall, even the days it used to be. So what is left up here in the final week here, George? I mean, is everything decided now? Is there any races? Is it just jockeying for position at this point?
There's a lot of jockeying for position. So if you're going to be betting on NHL the next 3 days, you better watch who's playing and who's not. A lot of these teams, Carolina sat everybody last night, and they might do the same thing tonight when they play the Islanders.
Yep.
Not that I'd be dying to bet on the Islanders, by the way, but they might. So you said there's a lot of jockeying for position here as far as who's going to Ottawa, Boston, who's going to play Tampa Bay, and who's not, or Carolina. Now that either one's good, I think we have the last spot in the West that's open there as far as the wild card. The Kings did clinch last night, so Anze Kopitar has not played his last NHL game. But like I said, if you're going to be betting the NHL the next 3 days, let's face it, most of us will. Make sure you're watching who's scratched and who's not.
That's a good point you bring up here. And also, George, the Carolina Hurricanes last night needed 1 point here to secure that top seed. They got it as the Flyers ended up winning in a shootout yesterday. But if we look at the Eastern Conference, George, top of the standings right now in the odds market, it's Tampa Bay at a plus 180 price, followed by Carolina at a plus 220 price. If I had to give you one of those two teams to come out of the East, who actually would it be?
Well, Tampa's got the harder road, right? Because they didn't win their division. So they're going to have to go face Montreal. And I give Montreal a fighting chance in that series. Not having Noah Dobson hurts, all right? He's not going to be there for the first round upper body injury there for the Canadians. But we don't know about Victor Hedman either for the Lightning, right? He left for a personal reason. Don't know what that is. They never haven't announced it. I assume he's back this weekend or whenever game one is for Tampa Bay, but I'm not sure. So until I hear that, I'm not going to feel great about it. But I still do like Tampa Bay to advance there. I think they are the best overall team. Only because, Donnie, what have we seen from Carolina over and over and over again? They can only go so far in the playoffs and then they're done. It's pretty much second round done. This is it should be their year, right? You're going to finish 1 or 2. You're going to face a wild card team, Ottawa, Boston. You'd rather face Boston, I think, than Ottawa. Then you're going to face Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. You are the better team, right? You should at least be getting a conference championship game before you got to worry about facing a Tampa team. One thing about these NHL players, and I don't know if I can remember seeing this, so many teams don't have a goaltender one. All right, Buffalo, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Alex Lyon, right? I mean, even Carolina, Boosie and Frederick Anderson. Even Colorado, Wedgwood, Blackwell. We don't know who's starting game in and game out. I don't think we've seen this in quite some time in the NHL where more than half the field has more than one goaltender.
Could be wide open here, and also in the Western Conference. I see the Vegas Golden Knights at a 5-1 price to win the West. John Tortorella, revenge tour here, coming back. We'll see what happens. Thank you so much for joining us here, George. NHL playoffs, Yankees baseball, he's got it covered. We'll be right back. Joe, you want to go back to 87, 88 real quick right here? We want to take you on a little nostalgic tour. Just say the word. Just say the word.
Let's do it. I'm ready, Don. Come on.
All right.
Memory
Ready?
lane.
So,
Come on.
So just as you guys were talking about where those, sweet
there it
jerseys
is.
would come from, my first jersey
That is
in the
great.
1980s, my hero, Ron Hextall,
Yep.
right there. So yes, maybe it wasn't for
Fantastic.
Ruby and the boys back in the day
Yep.
or Dave Brown. It was
Yep.
always Ron Hextall in this household right here. So
Love
let's
it.
get to some winning here, maybe in the WNBA, which could be back-to-back
Is there a
number one
Lindros
draft picks
jersey
here.
back there, too?
I
Do you
never
have a
had that.
Lindros
That was my only that was my only Flyers jersey. So I felt to myself like I had to be loyal to one guy at this point. And by the way, like Hextall was there in the 1980s, then came back in the 1990s. It was reusable,
90s,
but the
yep.
jersey just wasn't big enough by the
Yep.
time we got to the 1990s at this point here. But it is what it is. It feels like the last time I put that jersey on in the 80s when the Flyers actually made the playoffs. So at least they're back at this point right now, which means, Joe, could we be back in Dallas with AZ Flood and Paige Beckers back-to-back number ones, looking to turn that franchise around?
Yeah, I mean, it's, my goodness, it's the UConn reunion, and I don't think you can go wrong there. We knew Fudd was coming out, was going to be the number one. Now, obviously, having a relationship with the former number one there with Paige Beckers, I get it. But I don't think Dallas would have done it if they thought it was going to be a problem. I think it's going to be fantastic. I like what the Dallas Wings are putting together there. I think this is going to be a pretty fun team to watch.
Now, taking a look at the top 10 from last night, AZ Flood was number one, which I do know she played for UConn. Lauren Betts, I only know because I saw quick highlights. I believe she's from UCLA. Flaujé Johnson, I know from LSU. The rest of them, Joe, no idea who any of these are. So at least I got 3 out of the top 10. It's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. And listen, a lot of talent in this draft too. So there could be, is there a changing of the guard coming? I mean, Dallas has been terrible. Their third coach now in the last couple of years, but they're going to have some talent there in Dallas. And could they be the new kid on the block?
By the way, UCLA going to have a line change here, Joe. They had 5 players drafted in the first round last night. That's a dynasty right there. It's a lot of replacement parts.
Well, again, there's a reason why they're national champions, right, Donnie? And also, we knew it. Every one of the players that scored in that game were all seniors there. These were all people who played together from the start. So, that's still shocker, Donnie, when you have teammates that actually stay there for 3-4 years. It's amazing how good they get once they're juniors and seniors.
How about the first-year salaries of the top 10 WNBA draft picks here? Dallas, number one overall, AZ Fudd, $500,000. That must be nice, though. Like, you get drafted, it's like, hey, your contract automatically demands for $500,000 next year for you. And by the way, let me ask you this question, Joe. AZ Fudd gets the $500,000. Did she probably make more at UConn than she did in the WNBA?
Oh, I don't know that she made that at UConn, but yeah, I'm sure over the career there at UConn, she's probably has never paid for a meal. I'm sure there was a lot of perks along the way there, Donnie, but there's going to be even more perks now in the new WNBA moving forward.
Not bad. We read about a lot of those bench players like last year, the year before, making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. Take a look at the top 10 here. At least if you're the top 10 picks here, Indiana, I should say, $289,133 first-year salary, which, again, probably has a slight increase over maybe 2 or 3 years that you would get at that point. But the WNBA and that CBA worked in their favor. Not going to miss any games here, Joe, and the salaries are going higher. I just want to say, when is the contract for Caitlin Clark able to be adjusted here or have an extension, Joe? That's what I want to see.
Yeah. I mean, this is what it was all about, though, right, Donnie? The almighty dollar. And they still didn't get everything they wanted. Let's be realistic, but they got more than enough to be able to hit the court in time, not lose any games. And again, there's a handful that are going to draw attendance this year. And I think how much money is the WNBA really going to make this year? I can't wait to see that because the owners keep crying poverty with this league. Now you signed a new deal. Let's see how that money flows in this year.
It's funny, like talking about the WNBA yesterday. I was like, well, when is the draft, by the way? And I was like, see it this morning. It's like, oh, yeah, the draft was actually last night at this point, and away they go. Now, in the NFL, you get drafted, what, Joe? In April, you got May, June, July, August into September before you play. That's not the case with WNBA. You basically get drafted, you show up at practice, and we're tipping off soon after that year, which means we're going to be tipping off hour number 2 next. Stay tuned. More hot topics on the way. Hour number 2 officially underway on a Tuesday here. The hot topics will keep rolling in. Kevin Walsh going to join us in the next segment here to talk a little action in the NBA, getting you ready for the play-in rounds and much, much more at this point, Joe. Love the topics today. Always a good time. We'll get you to hump day tomorrow and closer to the weekend as we go. But I can't wait to get this hour started here to get after more of these good stuff topics here.
Yeah, a lot of fun, Donnie. I mean, a lot of baseball headlines as we head into the week here, and of course, the play-in begins before the actual playoffs begin. So we got a lot going on. I can't believe this weekend the NHL playoffs start too. It's kind of a crazy week.
Let's go Flyers. Yeah, we'll keep chanting that all the way through. Been a minute since we were able to have an orange out down there on Broad and Patterson. However, let's talk about some WNBA action to start here. Seems like in every league, Joe, nobody likes the commissioners here. Let's hear what Kathy Engelbert has to say. Let's hear this one.
Adam Silver was asked last month about just your future as the commissioner of the WNBA, and he said he didn't know what you wanted to do. So I guess I'm just curious, like, how much do you want to stay the commissioner of the WNBA? How much longer do you anticipate to be in this role?
Well, thank you, Maddie. I do crack up how everybody's focused on me, and you should be focused on the hundreds of amazing women and thousands of women who run this league outside of myself. Our
no
women
men
owners, our women board of governors, our women GMs and women head coaches, and my whole team of diverse women and men who are working hard every day to get the 30th season tipped off by May 8th. But I appreciate that you're focused on me as well. I wonder whether you would ask that of a man, by the way. But I realize as women, we get asked different questions than men do. But look, I'm so proud of this league, and I'm here, working really hard to make the 30th season our best ever and to continue to build that sustainable economic model we know we need for the future. So nothing else to report, which is probably why Adam didn't report anything. There's no story here. I'm thrilled with our trajectory. I'm thrilled with the growth, thrilled with what we've done over the past couple of years, and really looking forward to the next few years.
Now, questions are always going to be asked of CEOs all the time. Now, Roger Goodell, roundly booed anytime you see him. It's a rite of passage whenever they get to the draft because nobody relates to the actual commissioner themselves. You know who does usually like them? The NFL owners. Why? Because every single year their pocket's bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like, yeah, you might hate Roger Goodell. We love him because he makes us money. So flip it over to the WNBA. Is going to be in their 30th season. Has never made a single profit. I think it's a valid question to ask. Are you going to stick around any longer? Because there's growth in the league, but not growth in profits right now. How do you deal with that? You wouldn't ask the man that question. She immediately goes, yes, I would have.
And of course you would, because it's not about you. It's not a sexist comment. It's the fact that you're a CEO, essentially. And every CEO of any company, yeah, it's a legit question. Are you hanging around or you're not hanging around? Are you planning on moving? You're not moving? What are your goals? I didn't see anything wrong with that. She could have just left it at, yeah, I appreciate you thinking about me, but really it's all about and just left it at that. I don't know why she had to go down that roll.
Exactly. Like you take earnings reports coming out. You guys missed your third quarter profitability here. Answer that.
You wouldn't have
asked. You wouldn't have asked a man that question. Yes, we would have. The shareholders want to know where that money is going. That's always going to be asked at this point. So funny how you turn it on a dime like that. Instead of saying, like, you know what? I want to be around for another 5 years. I think we're in a great spot. We're finally hitting our stride. And thanks for the question. You move on. Instead, it was like you wouldn't ask a guy that question. It has nothing to do with a man or woman at this point at all. So there's the WNBA commissioner. Hopefully, we'll get some more good news here about ratings being on the rise once again. And in those ratings, talking about the early lineup, is AZ Fudd. Can she help those ratings in Dallas? Paige Beckers, AZ Fudd, two girlfriends playing together, a powder keg insured, but also eyes will be watching Dallas, no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive stuff here. And what? Rookie contract, $500,000 first year, not a bad way to go here. Yeah, can't go wrong with that. So that is a huge price increase from what they were getting in previous years, that's for sure.
By the way, Joe, you remember like Steph Curry, like, hey, he's going to miss a couple games, little banged up, bulky knee, turned into a couple months at this point, and now he's finally coming back and going to be on a minutes restriction, which can't help them in the playing rounds, Joe.
Yeah, it's not going to help them, Donnie. And listen, it usually doesn't help 10 seeds one way or the other because it's usually one and done in these spots, and that feels like what this is going to be, whether Steph plays 12 minutes or 32 minutes or whatever. It just not the year there for the Golden State Warriors.
Local media, Joe, sidelined during the NBA playoffs. And by the way, if you're local media, like, good, I don't have to work an extra 2 months here. If my team makes a deep run, I can actually sit back and watch those basketball games and leave it up to the national heavyweights here. I don't see what the uproar is about at this point right now.
Yeah, I don't either, if we're being honest here, Donnie. But and listen, most people watch these games without the sound on anyway. It's usually on a second screen. It's on a monitor. It's not. Nobody knows who's saying what, where, how. It's just keep the score on the screen, Donnie, and that's all most people need to know about when it comes to these games.
And by the way, Joe, in the NBA, when your season ends in professional sports, you always clean out your locker, but also you meet with the coaching staff at the end of the season and go, hey, look, here's what I need you to get better for next year. Keep in touch, and we'll see what happens. Where are you going on any special vacations? Where do you want to work out this year? And away you go. John Morant was basically told, yeah, why don't you just stay away from exit interviews? Might be best for everybody.
Yeah, that would be great. Like, hey, listen, don't call us. We'll call you, okay? How is he still in Memphis is beyond me. I tend to think he won't be there by the time next season rolls around.
Wasn't there a time, Joe, in Memphis where, like, John Morant and the boys were like, you know what, I'm mad at this other basketball team, and they flashed, like, their gun scopes at that bus a couple times here. So there's been many of occasions with John Morant, but this has to be the best one. We don't want to even meet with you. We'll see you when you see, which hopefully is never in Memphis again. Dick Vitale here. By the way, do you want to get something in on that, Joe? What do you got? What do you got on Ja? You want a last piece of Ja?
Listen, when your father gets banned from the arena, then there's chances are there's some other issues going on. Yeah, that's for sure.
By the way, Dad looks like Usher, too. Sensational stuff. Dick Vitale, diagnosed with cancer for the 5th time. This guy takes a lick and he keeps on ticking here. Dick, make it number 6, baby. Let's go. Beat it again.
Yeah, Dickie V, the ultimate fighter, and really is just, amazing what he has come back from already. And like he said, he's not quitting on anything. So we wish him nothing but the best and a speedy recovery.
I'll tell you what's incredible. Like Dickie V, been around for so many times. You saw him with the glasses back in the 1980s. Even like Bill Raftery.
Yeah.
These guys are still going strong and at a high level right now. And also, how much energy it takes just to beat cancer maybe one time. Going to try to beat it for a 5th time.
Yeah.
Let's go, Dickie V. I know you can do it here. Joe Buck. Oh, well, yeah, I'm not going to call the 2025 postseason. Who cares, Joe Buck, if you called it or not?
Yeah, nobody cares, Joe, to be honest with you. And I don't understand the need for 27 guys calling a game anyway. All of that is very strange to me. But, hey, listen, he's got bigger fish to fry right now, right?
Yeah. By the way, Joe, his famous call, or his most famous call, I should say, is not coming from a game-winning situation. It was Randy Moss doing the fake, I'm going to pull my pants down and moon you in Green Bay. A disgusting display by Moss. Really? Come on, man. He was having fun with the fans of Green Bay. Stop the madness. Jonathan Quick, 20-plus years in the NHL. He's hanging him up for the time, Joe. He could never be Quick in goal, man. That guy was lethal back in the day.
He was, and he was just stuck on some teams that couldn't score, and he made them better than they were, simply because you couldn't get it by him there with those Kings teams. But unfortunately, they just couldn't get it done. Yep.
Now, come on. Now, put that graphic back up there, Jonathan Quick. Why are we doing the guy dirty? I mean, the Rangers uniform at this point. Stop it, man.
Uniform.
Come on, stop
right.
it, Joe.
That's
Look
not
at
right.
that. Put the Hextall jersey on the boy, and let's get after it here. We won't wear Hextall stuff here. By the way, shout out Hextall is my favorite goalie and also hockey player in the 1980s. Then came back as a GM for the Philadelphia Flyers and was horrendous and actually chose Nolan Patrick over Cal McCarr, which really set back our rebuild here in Philadelphia. We don't forget, Ron. We love, but we don't forget. Come on, hour number 2 of the early line. Fun times just beginning here. George Kurtz joined us here. And now, Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri welcoming Kevin Walsh to the early line, his favorite show of the day, the only show of the day that matters to Kevin, right? Right. Thank you for that. Yeah. Yes. Used to be here.
On a day. There we go. Like the Undertaker. Drop the lights, baby.
There
I'm
you
here.
go. Dun, 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 dun. Now, we got to talk about some NBA action because we got the playoffs starting tonight with the play-in rounds. You got 2 games tonight, Kevin, 2 games tomorrow. So you know what I do? I take a look and go, you know what? I tune in the Heat Hornets. I tune in to the Magic and the 76ers. 90% of the country won't be able to tune in because 2 games are starting at 10 p.m. East. Kevin, does the NBA, is there something in writing that goes, we must tank our ratings because it's for the good of the league? Make it make sense. We can't have 7 and 9:30, Kevin. We can't have 6:30 and maybe 9 o'clock. We can't do any of that stuff.
This can't be your...
It is.
Like, I understand.
Ludicrous.
But Donnie, like, there are spots where you do this and it tracks. The NBA play-in is not one of those spots.
Does the NFL start a playoff game at 10 o'clock? Do they? No.
Yeah, no, they don't, Donnie. But the NFL doesn't have as many playoff games as the NBA. And also, I got to say, this is maybe the nicest thing I could have ever expected you to say about Phoenix and Portland, is you kind of being upset that it's not on Earth. Donnie, they could play this game in your backyard. I'm not sure you're watching Suns Blazers.
I don't know. I might be tuning in because these rounds, Kevin, get us the Patrick Beverly, throwing jerseys into the crowds and celebrations. These are the big games here tonight. That's what I'm looking forward to. But we do have 2 games tonight. Heat Hornets, Trailblazers Suns. What would surprise you tonight, or what do you like tonight?
Well, I would be surprised if Miami won because a lot of it is them. But Charlotte also is in a very interesting spot. I think if you look across the play-in, and the team, if they didn't make the playoffs, the most disappointing would be Phoenix, because they're a 7 seed that have to lose 2 in a row at home. They've been in the playoffs the entire season. I think Charlotte is second. I think it'd be more disappointing for Charlotte, Donnie, than your 76ers. With the resurgence that this team has had, with the way they're priced in these games, I don't know if you guys agree. I think Charlotte would be booked as favorites at Philly or at Orlando, quite frankly. Definitely at Philly, in my opinion, for the second game of the play-in here. So for Charlotte, it's a gotta-have-it spot. What also just stands out to me a little bit is that total. And are we starting to get the playoff totals a little bit here? Because, you know it, Joe, Miami numbers... those things usually start with, 230s or higher. We're seeing, 228.5 tonight in a Heat game.
It's 2 opposites, right? So you have one of the highest totals there in Miami and Charlotte, and lowest total there coming up with Portland and Phoenix. And, listen, Phoenix is not going to want to make that a track meet. It feels like Portland's playing with house money in this game here, and they have been over the last couple of weeks. But if we're being honest, Phoenix has not been good down the stretch here. It has not been a good run for them. Can you just flip a switch if you're Phoenix? Because the market, all I'm seeing is Portland money coming in.
Yeah, and at first glance, I was like, Phoenix home, right? Devin Booker. Your point, Devin's scoring 30 every game. They're still not winning. And Portland, recently, the losses are like at San Antonio and at Denver. Other than that, they're just playing really good basketball here. I don't think there's any level of discount on Phoenix. I think them being booked as favorites at home in a play-in situation tracks. But, Joe, the more I looked at this game, I would agree with kind of how you laid it out, that Portland's starting to feel like the side here late night in the desert.
By the way, Kevin, I'm going to put my doctor hat on right now because we're looking forward to after these play-in rounds happen and the real playoffs get underway, which will include the Los Angeles Lakers. But the question, who's going to be actually playing for the Lakers? We know LeBron James is going to be there. Austin Reeves will be watching, but Now I'm hearing that, like, hey, you know what? Here's all you do. Like, I'm Luka. I tore my hamstring. Usually it takes a month. Well, let me just disappear over to Europe, and looks like I get a couple injections and I'm healed all the way. We had a story coming up today for Christian Yelich, who's, hey, I tweaked my hammy a little bit. Yeah, he's down for a full month, as we know. Luka Doncic expecting to come back and play in round number 1. Come on now. We've been down this path before.
The only thing is, it's such a delay, Donnie, that it might be possible. Maybe you don't think so, but the Luka injury was on the 2nd of April. Now, this series will begin on the 18th. So game 3 of this series will be, at minimum, 3 weeks removed from the injury. I've watched Mike Evans rush back quicker than that, right? Like, 3 weeks is a legitimate amount of time in between. I don't think it's a guarantee that Luka plays. I do think someone told some guy in a sports book, an odds maker in a room, yeah, by the way, Luka Doncic retired. Because they have been pricing the Lakers as if Luka's never, ever, ever coming back. And I think if there's some inclination in that room for the Lakers, like, you just need to keep the series afloat. You don't get swept. Luka will be back by game 5. Game 5 might be in May. I mean, it's the NBA playoffs. What if he gets a month off?
That is true, though. The first round of the NBA playoffs, like one game every 4 days. So he might have the ability to get readjusted as it comes back. But he will get cooked on defense with that hammy. Talking about getting cooked yesterday.
As opposed to when he doesn't get cooked on defense?
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that was
right.
Yeah,
like, you know what? Just gonna, pick and roll is here left and right to get that guy isolated up, just like Joel Embiid and the boys pointing down to Nikola Jokic. Don't let him sit down on that bench here in the All-Star game. Bring him back out here. Let me cook him one more time.
Yeah.
The man, Joe Ranieri, was not able to sit on the bench because everybody wanted to take their chance cooking this man. Kevin Walsh will be cooking tonight. Game Time Decisions. Check him out 6 p.m. Eastern right here on the SportsGrid Network. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
Guests and fun and playoffs and hot topics. It's just what we do here on the early line. It's a Tuesday. We're getting you ready for a Wednesday, then a Thursday, then a Friday, then your weekend here. The heat wave on the East Coast, adding to more runs in Major League Baseball. And also, I do have a team total coming up that you're going to want to check out. It's just a few moments. We're going to give out some of those best bets, but where do you usually take those best bets to, Joe? How about the Sports Business Journal with a tweet? Major sports books, including DraftKings, FanDuel, Fanatics, and Bet365, have contributed about $48 million to a new super PAC backing sports betting expansion here. More sports books, more states, and away we go, Joe. Let's do it.
Yeah, listen, I mean, that, the more options that we have, Donnie, as bettors, the better off it is, right? Because that's how the market works. Can't just have one. You need to have multiple.
And also, and if you don't have one or two of those here, you can always get those prediction markets, which the sports books are upset with, that they got to pay taxes, they got to do different regulations. When we have the predictive markets coming in, like, we'll handle this business. You just let us sit this one out here, and we'll take care of it here. Just the way it gets down. But, Joe, now's the time we like to reach out to the people and hear what they got to say on our Fade the Public poll. Playoffs. Well, at least the play-ins are tonight here. The real playoffs, as we like to say, going to start this weekend here, and away we go. But at SportsGrid, we asked the question today, which side are you rocking with in tonight's play-in matchups? You can take the Heat, the Hornets, the Trailblazers, or the Suns, all on the line, Joe. Pretty even distribution here, which looks like nobody really wants the Trailblazers tonight. Tough scene.
Which is odd, Donnie, because historically in these play-in games, which haven't been around forever, but it's usually a team like Portland that has been kind of money in these spots here. So, I mean, call me crazy. I think there's an opportunity here as a outright dog winner, and that being with the Portland Trailblazers tonight.
There you go. An outright winner. See what happens playing games. Some teams are going to go home. Some teams will advance to get into the top 8, and away you go. Here's some best bets you want to need to get. Bye right now. Starting your week out, new week, new monies, we like to say, on a Monday. So the boys came out and took 2 baseball games and swept the card, people. Tonight, 2 more bets on deck for a chance to go 4-0 to start the work week here. What do we got, Joe? Where are we going?
Well, we'll go to the association here tonight, Donnie, and Miami and Charlotte. And like I admit, there is no way I am sweating out an under with this Miami Heat team here. And here's why. They changed their style, Donnie. They are an up-tempo, try to get as many shots as you possibly can team. And while they were one of the best defensive teams in the first half of the season, I've watched this team basically run out of gas. You can't play at that tempo and then have the same energy and effort on the defensive side, and that's what cost them down the stretch. They don't have anything left in the tank, so they are going to concentrate on scoring, and scoring. No defense for me, Donnie. This thing is going to go flying over the total, not to mention Charlotte takes more threes than any other team that we're going to see here. Expect this one to go flying over that total.
Heat it up, get into the 230s, cash a ticket, Joe. Yesterday I went in Major League Baseball down in the charm city of Baltimore and took an over 8.5, which they absolutely destroyed. Love to see it. Tonight, Joe, I'm actually going to go with a team total. So let's keep it in Major League Baseball. It's the Houston Astros team total over 4.5 runs at a -120 price. The Astros got to score 5 runs. Here's what we like. Colorado Rockies, not a great pitching staff as a whole, not a great starter on the mound tonight. It's Michael Lorenzen. Through his 75 batters in this early Major League Baseball season, Joe, how about a 209 ISO power number against, which is elevated? How about a weighted on base percentage at a ridiculous clip of 448? And how about a K percentage of only 13%, which means hard hit balls are in play and teams are scoring runs. Then we take a look at the lineup for the Houston Astros tonight. Anticipated in their first starting 9, Yanyer Diaz, not great statistics here. Isaac Paredes, not great statistics. But everybody else anticipated 7+ batters with weighted on pace percentage and also a team that doesn't strike out a lot. So let's couple that with a pitcher who isn't very good, who doesn't strike out batters, to a team that's absolutely crushing right-handed pitching and doesn't strike out. That sounds, Joe, like runs tonight down in Houston. Give me the Astros team total over 4.5 runs.
Yeah, I like that. It's the one thing that they've done well here is put the ball in play, and I expect there to be some runs in that game as well there, Donnie. So jack it up here.
Let's go, Houston. Bang on those trash cans. Get the boys a winner tonight. Let's go 2-0 again. The predictive markets are up next.